Why do we keep all these people in our family trees? At one point, I had close to 6,000 individuals on my public tree on Ancestry.com. Now, some branches of that tree were meticulously researched over multiple years, but other parts of my tree are merely copied from other trees or represent basic, easy to reproduce research that I no longer maintain because I don't really care about those people. Today, when I look at a person in my public tree, I ask myself 3 questions. First, am I making a significant contribution to that person or that lineage? 2, if I'm not making a big contribution, have I at least done enough due diligence to feel confident that the information on my tree is correct? And 3, if I haven't done my due diligence, then do I really care about this person or lineage? If I can't answer yes to at least one of those 3 questions, I delete that person from my tree. Why? What harm is it to have some extra branches in my tree? Genealogy today is really a crowdsourced exercise. We all borrow and rely upon the work of others, adding our unique contributions here and there. That means we copy errors from other trees, even if we don't know it. And errors in our tree can be copied elsewhere, magnifying the mistake. That's the harm, and it is extremely difficult to stop the spread of an error because, well, large parts of most trees are just copies, and the owner of those trees probably don't really care about the branch with the error. More important, the repetition of the error can create an illusion of truth. The more times you see the erroneous lineage, the more likely you will believe it to be true. It's all a bit of a vicious circle. My favorite example is a Pennsylvania Dutchman named George Slough. There were several men by that name living in colonial Pennsylvania, and 30 or 40 years ago, a family researcher merged the George Slough who migrated to Pelham, Ontario from Pennsylvania in the 1790s with a George Slough of about the same age who died unmarried and childless in Pennsylvania in 1759. Now, it's quite easy to prove that the two are different men, but with dozens of trees copying that lineage, it became a well-accepted genealogy. After posting over 2 years ago primary source documents proving that the 2 men are different, not a single person on Ancestry.com has altered their lineage. A few of them have even been openly hostile to me. Now, the same goes for supposition and educated guesses. Given enough time, a guess can morph into fact. A great example is George Harding, my wife's purported 3rd great-grandfather. Every time I've seen a profile for him on Ancestry or Family Search, he's listed along with a detailed lineage for him going back generations. When I first got started, I copied the entire thing, but a few years later, when I dug in more deeply, I couldn't find any evidence that George or his parents even existed. Eventually, I traced the source for his existence, a genealogy researched in the 1970s, which explicitly stated that the only evidence was a handwritten note on the flyleaf of a book, and that research couldn't find any further evidence. They even wrote that they hoped someone in the future would have better luck. Now that it's been 40 years, it's essentially become fact. That's no help to anyone. When you dive back into your tree, perhaps you're like me and you can't resist going after those little hint leaves showing up in Ancestry.com. Rather than reviewing those hints, ask yourself those 3 questions, and if you can't answer yes to any of them, delete that person from your tree. I hope you enjoyed this 5-minute genealogy video. Please subscribe to my channel and give a thumbs up. If you've got any feedback or suggestions, please leave them in the comments.